everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is LTK and today I'll be giving you 10 tips to consider when going for a hike. So if you're planning on going on a hiking trip or you're already a hiker, these are some tips that may help you out. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned to the very end, like, comment and share so that the channel keeps growing and you should be getting more videos like this. Let's get the ball rolling without wasting any more time. Rule number 1, very, very important. Never climb alone. The exception to this rule is that if you're an experienced hiker and you know the trail and you've done the trail a lot of times and you intentionally choose to go alone, then it's okay. But as a rule of thumb, please never go on a hike alone, especially if you're just a beginner or an amateur hiker. So at least make sure you are 3 to 4 people. It's a very good number, and yeah, that will help in so many ways. There's so many things that happen. You know, people fall sick, people get hurt, people get injured, and sometimes you'll be at places where your phone network is out of reach, and you always need people around. And I mean, the more the merrier. So the more people are there, the more fun the whole hiking experience will be. So that's a very important rule. Rule number 2 is similar to rule number 1, is always make sure you get a tour guide. So some people have a tendency of relying on Google Maps or instinct when going on a hike. So I discourage that. I've done it like twice and I've been lost 2 times. And after the second time, I was like, no, we'll always get a tour guide. No matter how expensive they are, we'll always be willing to pay for a hike. Because you know what might happen if you don't get a hike may even cost you more than the guide fee. So make sure you always get a guide and somebody who knows the trail, somebody who's got experience, somebody who comes upon recommendation that you know he has hiked with a certain group of people before. So yeah, secondly and most importantly, always make sure you get a guide. Rule number 3, make sure you use a map. So there's always, most hiking trails have maps, or if they don't have maps, they've got features that can help you know if you're on the right track or not. So if you've got a guide, the guide should be able to know those features and they should be able to share them with you. That okay, we're going to walk for this long, and then we're going to reach a river. After the river, we're going to see this. After this, we're going to see this. And if you go to if you're hiking a mountain that is regularly hiked, then you'll notice there will be blocks of rocks so that are stacked together. So you have a big rock at the bottom and then other smaller rocks, sort of like a pyramid shape. So those rocks are usually used to guide you or to let you know that you are heading towards the right direction or not. So always make sure you look out for those, look out for guiding features, and always use a map. Please don't rely on your instincts. You might get lost, and once you get lost, anything can happen. So another point is always make sure you carry fully charged gadgets. So if you're carrying your phones, make sure they're fully charged. A power bank, make sure it's fully charged. And even as you're getting busy taking pictures and videos of the scenery, always be mindful that the batteries or the power in one of the phones at least does not run out. You have one working phone, because anything can happen, like I said, on the hike. So you always need one phone for communication. Even when you get down, you might find maybe a punctured tire and you don't have a spare tire, you have to call somebody, or something has happened, you need to call somebody. So always make sure that you do not exhaust the power of your phone. Some people take it for granted. They're like, we can just finish the power and I'll charge when I get home. But you don't know what's going to happen between you leaving the hiking spot and getting home. So always make sure that your phone, at least one phone is charged by the time you're getting down, or you have carried a power bank. Tip number 5, is it number 5? Number 5 or number 6? Always make sure that you are prepared for bad weather, especially if you're going to hike during the rainy season. Try to carry a raincoat or leave a change of clothes in the car. So it has happened to me before. We're on a hike, everything is going on well, and and out of nowhere, because the weather is usually very different at the peak of the mountain than on the ground. So on the ground we had like proper sun. We get to the peak and all of a sudden it starts to rain. So we're soaked wet, and we are about 50 kilometers from the main city. So we had to get down the mountain and travel 50 kilometers soaked and wet. So make sure you carry a change of clothes, keep it in the car, or carry a raincoat. A raincoat, it comes in handy, especially if you're hiking during the rainy season, or if that particular mountain is famous for sudden rain. So another hint is to always make sure you tell somebody. Don't just always go on a hike without nobody knowing. So if it's somebody you stay with, your neighbor, your friends, let them know that you're going for a hike in case of anything. Hey John, I'm going to hike. There's a mountain on Saturday around 8. So if anything happens, they'll be able to to help trace where you were and what happened. So tell people where you're going and stick to the plan. So if it's a trail and you are leaving, maybe like most hiking trails have like an office where hikers start from. So tell the people that, okay, we're going hiking and we're going to use this trail, and stick to the trail, stick to the plan, and tell somebody. Always make sure that you travel at the pace. This is hint number 7. Always make sure you travel at the pace of the lowest member in the group. So if you have somebody who's maybe an amateur hiker and they're not very, very experienced or not very fit, so make sure you travel at that pace. You don't want a situation whereby you are hiking as a group, but then the lowest member is left way at the back and the rest of the people are in front. So sometimes, especially in cases where people are not familiar with the routes, people can end up getting lost, not knowing whether you turn left or right at a particular junction. So always make sure you keep it together, you travel together as a group. If somebody's a bit slow, encourage them, but don't leave them behind. And maybe just another additional tip to that one is that always choose a route that is suitable to the rest of the team. So if your team is mostly made up of amateur hikers, choose an easier route. There are usually many routes to a peak. There are usually hard routes, there are usually easier routes, and there are moderate routes. So if the group is made of mostly amateur hikers, use the easier route. You don't want to make the hiking experience to be a burden or painful for the rest of the group. So that is very, very important. And another tip is, as you are traveling together as a group, never split into groups. Sometimes there's a tendency of one hiking unit to split into 2 or 3 groups. So other people are like, we have to become faster than the rest of the group, and so you end up reaching the peak in separate groups. So ideally, if you started off together, make sure you walk together. It's related to the last point, at the pace of the slowest member in the group, so that you reach together at the peak and you come back together. So that's very important for the safety of the unit as well, and even just group dynamics. It makes better sense. So remember I said choose an easy route and stick to it. So that goes to hint number 9, hint number 10 rather, that don't push into the unknown. If you reach a place where you don't know what to do or it looks unfamiliar, don't discover new routes, don't try to discover new paths, don't try to change your plans. Say, no guys, let's do this instead. Stick to the plan and do not push to the unknown. And sometimes people have a tendency of even forcing the guide to take them into routes that the guide has no idea about. So that may just get you lost, and it's going to make your hiking experience very, very bad. So yeah, that's rule number 10. So let me know in the comments if you have any more questions or any other additional tips. But these 10 tips will definitely help you have a great hiking experience and avoid some of the mistakes that I used to make as an amateur hiker. Once again, thank you very much, Chavula, my roommate, for shooting this video, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks.